Pioneer fans, Pioneer women's varsity hockey is live and on the air. We are here live at Veterans Memorial Ice Arena, where it is the Pioneer women's varsity hockey team taking on Grosse Pointe North. Pioneer taking a look at the standings. Pioneer has 4 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. They have 9 points. Bloomfield Birmingham is right above them with 12 points on 6 wins, 3 losses, no draws. Grosse Pointe North is down in the 8th spot. They have 1 win, 4 losses, no draws. So again, the records go out the window once the teams actually start to play. But on paper, Pioneer should have the edge on this one, although Grosse Pointe North has been a very, very good team. Taking a look, Pioneer had a 8-3 win over Skyline to start off the season. They had a 4-4 draw versus Washtenaw United back on the 8th of November. They beat Sacred Heart 8-0 that on November 12th. They beat Plymouth Canton Salem 8-0 that on the November 14th. It was a 6-0 win over St. Clair's Shores on the 16th. Then they lost to Livonia United 7-0 here at Vets Memorial on the 22nd of November. On the 23rd of November, they lost 3-1 to Bloomfield Birmingham. On December 3rd, they played Washtenaw United. That was yesterday, and lost 8-1 in that game. And then playing Grosse Pointe North here. Taking a look at that Washtenaw United game here. Washtenaw, they say they had 7 goals in the first. Pioneer had 1 goal in the first, no scoring in the second, and 1 score for Washtenaw United in the third, for a total of 8-1. Shots on goal, 29 by Washtenaw United, 17 by Pioneer. Goaltending, it was Soriano who was in net for Pioneer, and it was Kasul who was in net for Washtenaw United. The lone goal for Pioneer was in the first period at 13-18. That was Chikachi, who scored for Pioneer unassisted. Then Milligan scored for Washtenaw United at 12:41. Leopold had the game-winning goal at 11:39. Kennedy scored at 10:50. Gordon had her first goal of the season at 8:10. At 4:11, it was Milligan with her third goal of the season. At 1:57, Kennedy got her second goal of the season. And then Kosicki scored with 1:02 left to go in that period. That was her third of the season. No goals in the second. Kosicki scored her fourth of the season at 5:30. That's in the third. As we take a look, let's see if we can pull up Grosse Pointe North and see if we can grab their schedule. There we go. So they started off with a loss 12-3 versus Eastside Bulldogs. They then lost to Walled Lake 4-2. Washtenaw United beat them 5-4. Grosse Pointe North played Bloomfield Birmingham back on November 20th. That was again a really close loss, 5-4. They beat Huron Skyline 12-8. They then lost to Cranbrook Kingswood. That on the third. That was yesterday, 11-3. So both of these teams had a loss yesterday, and they're looking to get back on track in this game. Taking a look at the game sheet for that one, it was 6 goals in the first for Cranbrook Kingswood, 2 for Grosse Pointe North. In the third, 3 for Cranbrook Kingswood to give them a total of 9. 1 for Grosse Pointe North to give them a total of 3. 2 goals by Cranbrook Kingswood in the third, so 11 for them and 3 for Grosse Pointe North. Total shots on goal, 33 for Cranbrook Kingswood, 21 for Grosse Pointe North. Aslam took the loss. She is, I believe, the lone goaltender on the roster for Grosse Pointe North. And then Sui took the win. It was DeCrane who scored at 12-12 in the first. That from Shappy Bean. That from Shappy Bean. And then, that correct? I'll get that correct in just a second. Shappy Bain, forgive me, and Villiana. And then it was Timko scoring at 11:15 for Cranbrook Kingswood, her 4th of the season. Osfor scored at 9:38, her 6th of the season. At 7:05, it was Antone with her 1st of the season. Timko scored again at 6:42. That was her 5th of the season. Then DeCrane scored her 2nd goal of the game, that at 5:35, 2nd of the season. Knorr scored at 5:12 for Cranbrook Kingswood, 1st of the season. Timko had a hat trick at 4:17, scoring her 6th of the year. In the second period, Ashford had her 7th of the season at 11:49 for Cranbrook Kingswood, and then she had her 8th of the season at 9:34. Martin scored her 7th of the season for Grosse Pointe North. That's from Alzaric and Kasuba. And then Ashford had her 9th of this season unassisted with 26 seconds left to go. Then Ashford scored her 10th of the season in the third at 14:10 and her 11th of the season at 8:57. So that is where we are at. Taking a look at the team statistics here for Grosse Pointe North. Shappy Bain has the lead in points with 12 points on 7 goals and 5 assists. Villani has 12 points as well on 4 goals and 8 assists. Kasuba has 11 points on 5 goals and 6 assists. Martin has 10 points on 7 goals and 3 assists. And Wilhelm has 7 points on 3 goals and 4 assists. If we take a look here at Pioneer and their statistics, Heaven has the lead with 12 points for Pioneer with 8 goals and 4 assists. Chikachi has 9 points on 4 goals and 5 assists. Pace has 9 points on 2 goals and 3 assists. Portinga has 8 points on 4 goals and 4 assists. And Cundiff has 6 points on 2 goals and 4 assists. Let's play a few messages, or let's play a little bit of a couple messages from the MHSAA. Then we'll have a little bit of music, and we will have your opening puck drop. They're counting down about 5 minutes here. So we will get going with the opening puck drop in just about 5 minutes. You're watching Pioneer Women's Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Maybe you've seen the videos of the Specialized Sports Parent Support Group. Or the kid holding a press conference to announce his retirement from sports. The problem is, they'd be really funny if there wasn't a lot of truth there. Multi-sport participation provides a healthier experience and lifestyle for kids and families. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Sportsmanship is still relevant in school sports. Good sportsmanship should be a given at our games. It's one of the primary reasons we have school sports to begin with, to help today's young people become tomorrow's community leaders. You can learn more about sportsmanship and download a full kit of sportsmanship ideas from the MHSAA website at mhsaa.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Why do high school sports really exist? For 99% of the participants, it's the biggest stage they will ever play on, and it provides the most educational value, teaching sportsmanship, ethics, integrity, hard work, and teamwork. It's about playing with local friends against local rivals and creating lifetime relationships. They build community spirit, and they're worthy of your continued support. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
If you're a recent high school or college graduate and still have a passion for the games you played in school, still remember the thrill of putting on the uniform, why don't you help us out and become a registered high school game official? Get out there and give something back to our kids. Visit the MHSA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Integrity, commitment, love of the game. These traits describe the people high school sporting events can't start without. The officials. They're out there every day giving back to our kids. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Better yet, why don't you become one? Visit the MHSAA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the Health and Safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
We're live at the Veterans Memorial Ice Arena, where it is Grosse Pointe North coming in to face off versus your Pioneer Women Varsity Hockey Team. Grosse Pointe North in their dark jerseys. They have their numbers in green on the back and on the sleeves. They have the Grosse Pointe, the G and the P on the front, dark pants, dark socks, and dark green helmets. They're going left to right. Pioneer is in their home whites with their the block A's on the front in a circle. They have a dark stripe across the middle, numbers on the sleeves and on the back. They have dark shorts and white socks out there. Pioneers going right to left here in this opening period. As it's starting to have the announcements, we just need to get it up a little bit louder. As there's a little cheer for the announcement. Kasuba skates out to the blue line for Grosse Pointe. Martin comes out to the blue line. McEvany. Bernie skates out to the blue line. And Aslan coming out there. The other starter was DeCrane. Now for your Pioneer team. Portinga comes out to the blue line. Chikachi comes out to the blue line for Pioneer. As Kong comes out to the blue line for Pioneer. As Kundif comes out to the blue line for Pioneer. Bergman, the other defender for Pioneer. And Ravelli will be in goal for Pioneer today. As the head coaches for Grosse Pointe North is Taylor Shaheen and Natalie Osmakis. And for Pioneer, we'll do that right after the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Donna America, the playing of the national anthem. All right, get myself all set up back here. Head coaches for Pioneer. That's Lynn Harrison Lee is the head coach. Assistant coaches Elise Johnson, Lon Grantham, and Natalie Grantham. So we are about to get ready here. Both teams coming off of a tough loss, looking to get themselves right here in this game. Again, Pioneer going from right to left. Grosse Pointe North going from left to right. We are very grateful for all of you watching out there and supporting these fantastic teams and these wonderful players. Thank you very, very much. We will not have a game tomorrow. We will effort to do the Pioneer men's hockey game on Saturday from Kennedy Ice Arena, as unfortunately we cannot broadcast from the Ice Cube due to Black Bear rules, so we don't get to do as many Pioneer men's hockey games as we would like to. That just means we can be here for a few more of the ladies' games, as Vets welcomes us gladly, and we appreciate that. We appreciate Vets' hospitality as we are high up around the ceiling of Veterans Memorial Ice Arena here in the Crow's Nest. As Portinga in at center, on the other side is Martin. As that puck coming all the way back right to the Grosse Pointe blue line, trying to bring it down the near boards. That's tipped in by Portinga, grabbed and sent the other direction, right back into the neutral zone. Cundiff sends it back deep, is racing back over to get it. That's picked up by Bernie in the far corner. Bernie trying to come down the far boards, that into the neutral zone where Cundiff steals it for Pioneer. She chips it down the far boards. That's grabbed, bringing it in is Chikachi. Chikachi outside the far circle. Chikachi trying to knock that away over to Portinga in the far corner. That goes right back behind the goal into the near corner. Outside the near circle. Battle for it there as Kung gets it all the way back. Chipped into the far corner. Martin trying to pull that away. Portinga trying to move it the other direction. Chikachi into the far circle. Now Portinga gets it over. Kung with a shot. That off the side of the net. Puck right back behind the goal. That's sent rimmed all the way around out to the far point. Held in by Bergman there for Pioneer. She puts it right back behind the goal. Grabbing it into the near corner. Portinga trying to feed it. That taken away down the near boards. And Grosse Pointe North gets it right to center ice. Now, racing ahead with it is Kasuba. Kasuba hits it into the far corner. Cundiff takes it right back behind her own goal. In along the near boards. Cundiff coming down the near boards, trying to avoid pressure. Now that over to Kong. Kong gets it down the near boards, right to center ice. Now that fired by Shanley. In along the far boards, gathered up there. Bringing it in is Bergman. Bergman outside the far circle. That went off of the defender's skate. Right back behind the Grosse Pointe North goal. All the way back to the far point. Diving to try and get to it and keep it in is Chikachi. She has to get touch up to avoid a delayed offsides as that puck down the near boards. Here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain outside the far circle. Shappy Bain comes back behind the Pioneer goal. Shappy Bain battling there. Bergman trying to knock it away. Into the high slot. Grabbed as Villani taking a shot. That cleared away as Alexis Young gets it down the near boards. Racing back over to get that. Back is Alzarek. Zarek sends it all the way around the boards. That spins into the neutral zone. Alexis Young chips it back to the Grosse Pointe North blue line. Zarek trying to get to it right at the near point in the Pioneer zone. As DeCrane sends it, now coming in. Shappy Bain, that's a shot and a save by Ravelli. Puck into the near corner, gathered up there. Horvath trying to feed it out of the zone. Held in, Shappy Bain with a shot and a goal. Shappy Bain scores it 12-11, and Grosse Pointe North goes up 1-0. So up 1-0, Grosse Pointe North. Fainter in to take the face off. On the other side was Shappy Bain, who just scored the first goal. That puck coming down the far boards into the far corner. Gathered up back behind, trying to knock it away is Fainter off the side of the net. Now Fainter underneath the near circle. Ricochets it off the near board over to Woodside. Fainter, that pulled back. As that puck brought in, coming in, Shappy Bain with a shot. That one just goes wide and along the far boards. Into the far corner it goes. I do not have number 19 on my roster for Pioneer. I will effort to get that at an intermission as Woodside battling right at the far point. Martin tries to knock it away, but that brought in by Pioneer. Racing back to get it is Fainter. Fainter has it underneath the near circle. Back over. Puck into the near corner. 19 has it for Pioneers. Sends it over to Woodside on the near circle. Woodside with a shot. Aslam with a save. Puck into the near corner. Martin outside the near circle trying to knock that away. Pioneer digging there. Now Woodside trying to pull that back. Fainter tips it. Holds it in at the near point. Fainter has it in along the near boards. Gets it back over to Woodside. And sent back deep by Pioneer. Rimming right back behind the goal. Pulling it, Villani down the far boards. Villani, that chipped right in front of the scores box. Picked up by Pioneer back in their own zone. Racing ahead with it over center. Here comes Pioneer into the slot. Shot there and a save by Aslam. Into the near corner. Outside the near circle, that puck pulled away. I believe that's Martin back behind the goal coming down the far boards. Puck. McEvany sends it back outside the near circle. As Alzarek had it, that's sent right back into the Grosse Pointe North zone. That is going to be icing, so they'll head right back into the Pioneer end. 10:06 left to go here in the first from Veterans Memorial Ice Arena. It is 1-0. Grosse Pointe North with the lead as we are 4 minutes and 54 seconds gone here in the first. Face off in the Pioneer zone, that to the left of Ravelli. Shappy Bain in taking the face off back to the near point, then sent in by Shanley. Outside the far circle, Villani trying to feed it, that tip back by Portinga into the neutral zone. Shanley puts it in along the far boards. Villani pulls it into the far point in the Pioneer zone. Shappy Bain trying to pull it away, loose. Villani has it. Villani through the slot, that fired, and no goal as it didn't go completely over. It has to completely cross the goal line, and it was close, but the official looking right there as it hit the near post and came out. Ravelli able to cover it up, keeps it 1-0 Grosse Pointe North. 9:37 left to go here in the first. Face off in the far face-off circle. That to Ravelli's right. Shappy Bain in there versus Portinga. That puck grabbed by Shanley. Now down the near boards. Here comes Kong. Kong moves it in along the near boards. Portinga picks it up outside the near circle of the Grosse Pointe zone. Trying to fire it out in front. That puck loose. Covered up by Aslam. Face off back in the Grosse Pointe North zone. They get a line change of at least their forwards. Pioneer changes their 3 forwards as well. Face off in the near face off circle. That is just to the right of Aslam. Fainter in to take the face off. Martin on the other side. That puck outside the near circle, now into the near corner of the Grosse Pointe North zone. Right at the near point, holding it is Cundiff. That's sent back into the neutral zone as Horvath has it. Horvath trying to tip it down the far boards. Martin with it there. Martin trying to move it ahead. Martin coming down the far boards. Martin into the Pioneer zone at the far point as Pace was trying to knock it away. There's a high shot that goes outside the near circle in the Pioneer zone. Trying to knock it away is Woodside. Puck into the near corner. Kong has it there. Kong right back behind the goal. Kong coming down the far boards. That's chipped into the far corner by Kasuba. Now picked up. Coming down as that's a shot by Grosse Pointe North into the near corner of the Pioneer zone. Woodside backhands it, but that held in by Shanley. Stopped and covered up by Ravelli. 8:32 left to go here in the first. 1-0 Grosse Pointe North in the lead here at Veterans Memorial Ice Arena. Appreciate you joining us on a Thursday evening before a big Lions and Cowboys game. Thankfully, this is an early game, so you have plenty of time to watch this, then check out the Detroit Lions. Portinga versus Shappy Bain in that near face-off circle in the Pioneer zone. Back to the near point. Shanley fires in just wide to the far side. Villani trying to send it out in front. Good job to clear that away. Now coming down the far boards. And was that number 19, chipped back. Shappy Bain outside the far circle. Shappy Bain into the far corner. Puck grab, now sent down the far boards. Chikachi trying to tip it. That back to Grosse Pointe North's blue line. Deflected back into the Pioneer zone. Picked up by Cundiff underneath the near circle. Cundiff trying to come down the near boards. Sent to the blue line. Villani takes it back out to center. And she sends it down the far boards, but that intercepted by Chikachi. Trying to pick that up. And come ahead is DeCrane. And puck top of the near circle in the Grosse Pointe North zone. Trying to tip it away, but here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain has the one goal so far. Bergman trying to drive her wide. There's a penalty upcoming to Pioneer. Shot there. Good save by Ravelli. Pioneer touches up, and that is going to be a hooking call to Pioneer. So they will go on the penalty kill at 7:30. Trying to see who's going to get put in the box. Bergman in the box for hooking. So Pioneer with one less skater for the next 2 minutes, barring any scores or changes out there. That's going to be to the left of Ravelli in the near face-off circle. Shappy Bain on the other side of Portinga. That puck, top of the near circle. Martin. Now that's sent back, coming down the near boards. Here comes Chikachi. Chikachi feeds it back deep into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Martin into the near corner. Martin pulls it back behind her own goal, coming down the far boards, chips it back into the neutral zone. Trying to knock it away is Portinga, but that picked up. Coming down the near boards is Martin. Martin into the slot. Martin with a shot. As that's going to be a blocker save by Ravelli out in front now. There's a shot from the top of the far circle and a goal. That was put in by Bernie, number 13, unless someone tipped it in front, we'll see. But that makes it 2-0 Grosse Pointe North. If I can get this to go up one. There you go. All right. So it's 6:55. I cannot hear. The speakers are a little soft over here. I believe Bernie took the original shot. So forgive me if on the score sheet someone else tipped it in front. Pace moves it all the way across for Pioneer and along the near boards. As that's sent ahead by McEvany. McEvey had it now coming in. Shot in along the far boards. Pace trying to get to it. Pace trying to feed it across. That puck right back behind. Now underneath the near circle. Woodside has it. Woodside trying to feed it out in front. That comes outside the near circle. Now feeding it all the way down is McEvany. Icing waved off. Picked back up. 39 seconds left in the Grosse Pointe North power play, trying to weave through traffic is Cundiff. Woodside tries to get to it and brought in Zarek, trying to feed it right back into the neutral zone. Picked up as Cundiff has it now down the near boards. That slips back onto the near circle. Taken back behind by Thomas. Fed back into the neutral zone. Now coming in. That's sent by Kasuba back deep into the Pioneer end. 6 seconds left on that power play, although the power play should have been expired. Excuse me, they're just counting down at the top as it was a goal, power play goal. And off the side of the net now picked up. Alexis Young trying to get to it. Sappy Bain trying to pull that away. Puck into the near corner. Grabbed by Sappy Bain, sent right back behind the Pioneer goal. That on the crease, trying to cover it up. And good save by Ravelli. As I believe the captain, Kasuba, was right in front looking for a rebound. 5:13 left to go here in the first. 2-0 Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Face-off in the near face-off circle. That to Ravelli's left. Portinga versus Shappy Bain. That pulled back. Alzarek gets it over onto the far circle. Villani, that deflected into the far corner. Horvath trying to pull that away. Villani right out in front. Shappy Bain trying to get to it in the slot. There's a shot that deflected back. McEvany tried to get a piece of it as well. That puck back to the far point. Now Pioneer coming down the near boards is Portinga. Portinga gains the zone. Top of the near circle. That puck back to the near point is Kong trying to hold it in. Now sent ahead by Shappy Bain. Here comes Villani over to Shappy Bain. Shot and a goal. Shappy Bain makes it 3-0. Her second goal of the game. That at 4:35. That makes it 3-0. Shappy Bain has a brace. Used a little association football lingo. Face off right at center ice. Fainter in to take the face off. That versus Martin. Puck coming down the far boards. Fainter trying to bring it into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Bernie chasing it into the far corner. Fainter right back behind the goal. Rims it all the way around the near boards. McEvany moves it ahead. Here comes Martin at center ice. Martin gains the Pioneer zone. Martin top of the far circle. Martin coming in. Martin shot. That blocked as the puck along the far boards. Into the far corner. Pioneer trying to dig it out of there. Bergman has it back behind her own goal. Bergman underneath the near circle. Banks it ahead. And puck trying to get it out there is Woodside. Held in by Shanley. Now Shanley again holds it in. That right in front of the Pioneer bench. That back out into the neutral zone as Grosse Pointe North has to touch up. Coming down the far boards. Here comes Bergman. Bergman feeds it ahead. Now trying to get it back deep with pace back to the far point. That deflected off a Fainter's skate as that goes right back behind the Grosse Pointe North goal. Gathered up and fed in along the far boards. That deflected right to the blue line. Now brought ahead by McEvany. Well, Martin has it, top of the far circle. Martin trying to feed it out in front, and there's a goal. As that looks like Kasuba put it in. That will be 4-0. Kasuba's goal at 3:40. So number 16, Kasuba, I believe, scored that. 4-0, Grosse Pointe North with the lead. 3:20 left to go here in the first. Portinga trying to pull that away right at center ice. Now Chikachi trying to chip it ahead, loose, pulled in by Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain, top of the far circle. Shappy Bain underneath the far circle, back behind the goal, trying to send it off the side of the goal. Now that's in the far corner. Villani has it there, trying to get away from Portinga. That off the side of the net. Pulled back behind, backhanded shot, and that's a goal, and 2:58. And it looks like Shappy Bain now has a hat trick. That makes it 5-0. That at 2:58. So Shappy Bain with a hat trick at 2:58, and it's 5-0. Grosse Pointe North cruising. Pioneer wanted to stop the goal onslaught and try and get one back. As in along the near boards, as Shappy Bain and Kong ended up down on the ice that slipped back into the neutral zone. Gathered up as Bernie has it in her own zone, tipped by Shikachi down the far boards in the Grosse Pointe North end. Right out in front, Portinga trying to get to it. That poke checked in along the near boards. Held in by Alexis Young as that's sent right back out into the neutral zone. Shappy Bain trying to come down the far board. Shikachi fires it right back in deep into the Grosse Pointe North end with 2:20 left to go. Into the near corner, the Northmen trying to bring it out of there. Alexis Young holds it in at the near point. Shot there, deflected by Bernie and along the far board. Chikachi has it back behind the goal. Chikachi trying to get it over to Portinga. She's pinned in against the boards by Shanley. That puck comes underneath the far circle. Here's a quick breakout. That puck all the way down, and Icing waved off. The puck in along the near boards. Kung trying to get to it. Picked up by Alexis Young. It's a collision there. Portinga trying to peel it outside of the near circle. Now Martin in to try and knock that away. Shanley with a shot. That pulled away in along the near boards by Pioneer. Out into the neutral zone and racing ahead with it. Here comes Pioneer weaving through traffic. Is that puck right back behind the goal? In along the far boards, Pioneer trying to chip it. That racing down the other direction, right off of Pace's skate. Right into the slot. Grosse Pointe North starts their rush the other direction. Half fed ahead and now go all the way down. That'll be icing with 1:12 left to go here in the first. 5-0 Grosse Pointe North with the lead. It's going to come back into the Northman zone. Into the far face-off circle. That's Aslam's left. Fainter versus Martin in that far face-off circle. That's Aslam's left. Is that into the far corner? Fainter trying to get to it. Battle there. And still trying to dig it out. That comes back to Horvath at the far point. Shot there. And comes back in along the near boards. Woodside trying to pull it off of the near boards. As here comes Kasuba. Kasuba sends a puck on edge back into the Pioneer zone. Horvath has it outside the near circle, trying to avoid pressure by Kasuba. Horvath spins down the near boards. Horvath feeds it right to center ice. That tipped by Fainter. Back. Grabbed as Thomas sends it down the near boards right back into the neutral zone. Kasuba picks it up right in front of the Pioneer bench. Kasuba, top of the near circle, sends it all the way across. Martin trying to get a shot away. Good save by Ravelli. Puck into the far corner. Horvath trying to pull it away from Kasuba. That puck right at the blue line, held in by Thomas. Now Martin moves it across. There's a shot by Kasuba. That goes into the near corner, outside the near circle. Picked up, coming ahead with it is Woodside back into the neutral zone. Here comes Pace. Pace has it taken away by Martin down the far boards. Martin right back into the Pioneer zone. That tip back into the neutral zone. Kasuba has it. Kasuba down the far boards, and that will do it for the first. At the end of one, it is Grosse Pointe North 5 and Pioneer nothing. So we'll have a brief break, and then we'll head into the second. And let's play a quick message from the MHSAA.
Maybe you've seen the videos of the specialized sports parent support group, or the kid holding a press conference to announce his retirement from sports. The problem is, they'd be really funny if there wasn't a lot of truth there. Multi-sport participation provides a healthier experience and lifestyle for kids and families. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Sportsmanship is still relevant in school sports. Good sportsmanship should be a given at our games. It's one of the primary reasons we have school sports to begin with, to help today's young people become tomorrow's community leaders. You can learn more about sportsmanship and download a full kit of sportsmanship ideas from the MHSAA website at mhsaa.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
We are heading into the second period here at Veterans Memorial Ice Arena. And this time, Grosse Pointe North will go from the right to the left as Aslam goes down to our right. Ravelli will go down to the left. It is indeed Ravelli. And we are getting ready to go Portinga versus Martin at center ice. That puck in along right at center, now pulled in by Chikachi. Chikachi, top of the far circle. Chikachi trying to weave around as that goes right through the slot into the near corner. Portinga sends it right back behind the goal. Chikachi trying to get to it outside the far circle. Now Kung getting it and sent right back behind the goal. Gathered up back there into the far corner. Trying to feed it around is Bernie right out in front. Good save by Aslam. Now in along the near boards, Portinga trying to feed it. That tipped back by McEvany. There's a shot by Bergman. That got deflected out in front. Portinga trying to get that shot. Now that fed down by Bernie into the neutral zone. That deflects off of the near boards. Here comes Kasuba. She has that poke checked away, and she'll backhand it deep into the Pioneer zone. Bergman outside to the far circle, takes it back behind her own goal from the far side to the near side. Bergman moves it down the near boards. Here comes Pioneer, bringing it ahead is Chikachi. Chikachi into the zone. Chikachi moving it over. There's a shot as that comes back top of the near circle. Kasuba with it. Bergman trying to drive her wide. Now getting back is Alexis Young. Kasuba on that far circle. Alexis Young puts it into the far corner. Battle for it right back behind the Pioneer goal, and a save by Ravelli. 13:41 left to go here in the second. Face-off will be inside of the Pioneer zone in the far face-off circle. Fainter in to take the face-off. On the other side is Shappy Bain. Back to the far point, held in there by Alzarek. Now coming ahead with it. Here comes Fainter. Fainter in the slot. Shot there as that deflects, sticked outside the far circle. Trying to get to it. That's sent all the way down into the Pioneer zone. Horvath back to get to it. Horvath outside the far circle of her own zone. 13:20 left to go. Horvath underneath the near circle. That grab, trying to get to it. Villani. That shot, good save by Ravelli. Puck onto the far circle. Now back to the far point. Villani trying to hold it in. That back into the neutral zone. Grosse Pointe North will have to touch up. That grab now bringing it ahead. That fed all the way down into the near corner as Alexis Young gets it. That right back into the neutral zone. Now racing ahead with it. Villani has it. Villani back behind the defense. Villani with a shot and a save by Ravelli. 12:44 left to go here in the second. 5-0 Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Face-off will be in the near face-off circle. That to Ravelli's right. Martin in to take the face-off. Fainter on the other side. That puck loose on that near circle, comes to the top of the near circle. Kasuba trying to backhand it in front. That picked up down the near boards. Here comes Pace. Pace gets it into the neutral zone. Racing ahead is Woodside. Woodside puts it down the far boards into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Woodside trying to take a shot on goal. That's steered right back behind by Aslam. Outside the near circle now. Cundiff trying to keep it in. Puck loose on the near circle. Pace trying to get to it. Now that's sent ahead by Kasuba down the far boards. Pioneer has it in their own zone. Pioneer coming ahead with it over center is that number 19 into the zone, into the slot. Shot there as that one just went a little high into the near corner. Pace trying to send it across. That knocked down by Martin. Martin puts it back to the near point, and that's sent all the way down into the Pioneer zone. Pioneer has it at their own blue line, trying to race ahead. Poke check away. Pioneer picks it up. Now top of the far circle, over to Pace. Pace trying to get a shot away. Thomas gets a stick in the way. That puck into the near corner of the Grosse Pointe zone. Kasuba has it down the near boards. Kasuba trying to get it out. Held in by Fainter. Fainter with the shot. That popped up. Good save by Aslam. Puck into the far corner now outside the far circle. Collision in the far corner. There's going to be a whistle and a stoppage in play. We'll see if there are any penalties that ensue. As it looks like Martin is being put into the penalty box. I do not see a Pioneer player there. So Pioneer will be on the power play at 11:30. So roughing the call. Face off in the far face-off circle in the Grosse Pointe North zone, held in at the far point by Alexis Young. Now back into the neutral zone. Alexis Young trying to avoid Kasuba. Alexis Young gets into the zone, trying to get around Shappy Bain. Into the slot. Shot there. Saved by Oslam. Picked up back behind. And along the near boards, that chips back into the neutral zone. Now here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain has a hat trick onto the near circle. Good job by Alexis Young to steer it in along the near boards. She feeds it now in along the far boards, gathered up by Shikachi. Shikachi trying to get around Shappy Bain, that off of Shappy Bain's skates. Shikachi trying to move ahead, but Bernie puts it right back into the neutral zone for Grosse Pointe North. Now coming in onto the far circle, there's a shot by Kasuba, goes right back behind the goal. Picked up, and Pace coming the other direction. Gets it over to Shikachi. Shikachi trying to get past Bernie. Bernie tips it right at the far circle. Bernie, and that's going to be offside. 10:32 left to go here in the second. 1:02 left to go in the Pioneer power play. Face-off will come outside of the Grosse Pointe North zone. In the far face-off circle, 5-0. Grosse Pointe with the lead. Grosse Pointe North. Portinga in to take the face-off versus Shappy Bain. Right at center, spinning with it. Here comes Pioneer, number 19, down the far boards. Try and figure that out if we make it. Oh, as that comes right in along through the slot. Pioneer trying to get a shot on it, but it wouldn't settle down. Kasuba coming the other direction into the Pioneer zone. Portinga trying to knock it down the far boards. That chipped into the far corner. And Shappy Bain comes right back behind the Pioneer goal. Shappy Bain underneath the near circle. Pace trying to get over there. Shot by Thomas. That deflected out in front off of a pair of skates. Horvath feeds it down the far boards. Trying to get ahead to Shikachi. Shikachi trying to get around Kasuba. And over and tipped away. Grosse Pointe North down the near boards. Here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain makes a move on the near circle. Backhanded shot. Head off the side of the net. Covered up by Ravelli. Eight seconds left to go in that power play for Pioneer. 9:38 left to go here in the second. 5-0 Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Face off in the near face-off circle. That's going to be to Ravelli's right. Villani taking the face-off versus Fainter. Back to the blue line. That moved over by Thomas. Shot as that goes deflected out in front. Villani into the near corner. Now that moved into the far corner. Cundiff trying to get to it before Villani. Sent back to the far point. Loose on the far circle in the Pioneer zone. Held in by Bernie. Now right to the blue line. That brought ahead by Kong. Kong down the near boards. Kong trying to move it across. That's sent right back into the neutral zone. Bergman has it at center ice. Bergman trying to avoid pressure. Villani feeds it ahead. Martin had it. Martin now brings it into the zone. Martin, top of the far circle. That's sent outside the far circles. Kasuba has it into the far corner. And trying to feed it out in front. That puck underneath the near circle into the Pioneer zone. Trying to knock it ahead was Kong. Now here comes Fainter. Fainter right at center ice. Fainter trying to get around Bernie. Bernie feeds it over to Martin. Martin back into the zone. High slot. Martin. That shot went off of a skate. Right back to the blue line. In along the near boards. Villani puts it outside the near circle. Centering attempt. Pulled away by Cundiff. Back behind her own goal. Cundiff trying to avoid Martin down the far boards. Over to Woodside. And stolen away. Shot there. Stick back behind by Ravelli. Cundiff feeding it down the near boards. 8:16 left to go here in the second. There's a shot there by Bernie and a save by Ravelli. Blast from the blue line by Bernie. Ravelli with the save. It's 8:09 left to go here in the second. 5-0. Grosse Pointe North has the lead. Their offensive explosion started at 12:11 in the first, but then really at 7:30 they started to really turn up the juice. They haven't had a goal here in the second. Pioneer trying to keep them off the scoreboard here in the second. That puck in along the far boards. Now Shanley trying to get to it, picked up by Chikachi. Chikachi into the zone, moved back. That shot just went wide into the near corner. Pace has it there. Pace trying to feed it out in front. That went off of a pair of skates. Now coming ahead with it, Bernie feeds it down the far boards, trying to get it over to Kasuba, but Alexis Young puts it back into the neutral zone. That's sent deep Grosse Pointe North touches up. Puck picked up back behind by Alexis Young, back behind her own goal. She comes down the far boards. And to the far point to Kasuba. Knocked away off of her stick, sent the other direction. Here comes Grosse Pointe North. Shappy Bain, shot from the slot. That deflected off of Horvath's skate. Horvath in the far corner. Horvath back behind the goal. Down the near boards, trying to get it over to Pace. Back into the neutral zone. Bernie, that's stolen away by Portinga. Now knocked the other direction by DeCrane. Now Portinga trying to get into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Shappy Bain trying to knock it away. Portinga shot just wide. Outside the far circle, Chikachi puts it into the slot. That knocked away down the far boards as McEvany had it. That put right back into the far corner. Into the near corner of the Grosse Pointe North zone. Grosse Pointe North trying to feed it down the near boards and get it out of the zone. That held in by Fainter. Shot by Chikachi, and she scores at 6:43. Pioneer gets on the board with a beautiful pass over to Chikachi, and she's able to put it in for the goal. That makes it 5-1 at 6:43. It's a goal by Pioneer. Chikachi gets it. That is going to be a face-off right at center ice. Martin wins it back. That into Thomas. Thomas trying to feed it ahead. Fainter holds it in. Right on the far side, there's a shot. Good save by Aslam. Now here comes Kasuba the other direction. Kasuba over center ice. Kasuba has that knocked away in along the near boards. Picked up by Martin trying to get it into the zone. Now Kasuba brings it into the Pioneer end. Bergman knocks it right back to center ice. Gathered up there by Thomas. Thomas right in front of the benches. That's sent back off the dasher, back behind the Pioneer goal. Gathered up there as Cundiff feeds it down the far boards, intercepted by Martin outside the far circle. Martin on the far circle, trying to come high slot. Martin, top of the near circle with a shot that deflects out in front. Kasuba trying to get to it. Shot there, Ravelli. Trying to cover it up. Puck right back behind the goal. Into the near corner of the Pioneer zone with 5:50 left to go here in the second. Coming ahead with it. Here comes 19 for Pioneer. Gaining the zone. Outside the near circle, Pioneer trying to send it deep, but that picked up away. Coming back the other direction was Martin. In along the far boards. And fed away. And trying to bring it in, Villani. McEvany had it into the far corner. Here comes Pioneer. Down the near boards. Cundiff with it. Cundiff trying to avoid pressure by Villani. Cundiff over center ice. Cundiff in as Thomas drives her wide. Cundiff off the side of the net. Thomas puts it outside the near circle and tips all the way across into the far corner. As Elzarek gets it back into the neutral zone. Pace circling, gets it over to Chikachi. Chikachi had the first Pioneer goal. That off the post. Chikachi sends it on a backhand, trying to get it. Portinga puts it in. Bar down. Portinga right underneath that crossbar. That makes it 5-2 Pioneer. Has 2 goals here in the second. As Portinga put it in, that one from Chikachi. Goal for Pioneer, that at 4:46. Puck down the near boards, trying to bring it in is DeCrane. DeCrane, top of the near circle, DeCrane. Fires it, pad save, is that sent off right in front. Shot there, Ravelli trying to cover it up, and she does. An onslaught of Northman right in front of the crease, trying to knock it in, and good job by Ravelli to cover it up with 4:31 left to go here in the second. Face-off in the near face-off circle, Portinga versus Shappy Bain. That puck underneath the near circle into the near corner, trying to send it right down in front. Horvath takes it back behind her own goal. Horvath, that puck loose on the near circle. Shappy Bain takes it in along the end boards, feeding it out in front, trying to get to DeCrane. Back in along the end boards. That puck in along the far boards. Here comes Chikachi. Chikachi bringing it ahead. Chikachi feeds it. Here comes Pace. Pace gains his own. Pace trying to make a move. That knocked away. Good defense by Bernie. She gets it back into the neutral zone. Now Cundiff right at her own blue line, backhands it ahead, picked up by Shikachi. Shikachi into the slot, over, Pace with a shot, that knocked away by Aslam. Outside the far circle, Shikachi has it, trying to get it back to Portinga in the slot, but that off of a skate. Ooh, that deflected right through the crease outside the near circle. And in front, Portinga with it. Oh, just missed to the near side as Aslam had just slid over to the far side. That puck onto the near circle. Backhanded shot at Aslam with a save. Into the near corner. That's Shappy Bain feeding it all the way around the far boards, trying to get it over to Villani. Puck out at the far point. Excuse me, that's Kasuba. Puck deflects back into the neutral zone, brought in by Pioneer outside the far circle. All the way across as that wouldn't settle down on Pace's stick. Now over and along the far boards, Kasuba trying to get to it. Chikachi puts it into the far corner. Battle there. Chikachi comes away with it. Right out in front is trying to get to it. Pace still loose now. That's steered outside the near circle. 2:51 left to go here in the second. 5-2. That puck sent all the way down. That should be icing, and it will be. That'll head right back into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Appreciate you watching and cheering for whichever team you're cheering for. Thank you for your support of these amazing athletes in this fantastic game of women's hockey. I'm very grateful. By the way, if you've gone to the PWHL game in Detroit the last couple years, we have our work cut out for us, as Seattle now has the U.S. record at 16,000. But there are 2 PWHL games at Little Caesars Arena, so we can try and break that record and try and convince them to get a Detroit team. Alexis Young feeding it down the far boards now. Kong trying to move it across the feinter. That picked up. Now coming the other direction. Bringing it in is Martin. Martin into the slot. Martin with a shot. Saved by Ravelli. Chipped into the near corner. Battle for it in along the M boards. Moved in along the near boards. Woodside trying to get it out of the zone past Thomas. That puck back into the Grosse Pointe north end. Gathered up by Alzaric. Held in at the near point. Trying to feed it back deep was Bergman. That puck into the far corner. Kong gets it outside the far circle. Centering attempt knocked away by Kasuba. Picked up by Feinter. Now grabbed the other direction. Here comes Kasuba. Kasuba getting into the zone. Kasuba top of the far circle. Kasuba trying to move it across. Covered up by Ravelli. 1:46 left to go here in the second. 5-2. Oh, that's Joe, 19. So, don't know why I didn't know that, but that's okay. Coming down the far boards, trying to send that around. Pace trying to feed it ahead. Here comes Portinga. Portinga feeds it into the far corner. Gathered up back behind by Chikachi. Sent right back behind the goal. 1:26 left to go here in the second. 5-2. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Horvath holds it in. Trying to get it over to Pace. And steered away. Good job by Alzaric. So that puck will go right back behind to Thomas. Thomas rimming it around the near boards. Held in at the near point by Horvath. Horvath backhands it outside the far circle. Shikachi picks it up there. Shikachi trying a centering attempt. That went off of Kasuba's skate, and that fed ahead. Racing with it. Here comes Grosse Pointe North as that was poke checked away from Shappy Bain. She shows some frustration. She's been on fire today with a hat trick. That puck sent down the far boards. Grosse Pointe North has it as they try and feed it ahead. Here comes Portinga. Portinga getting past the defense. Shot there. Saved by Aslam. 36 seconds left to go. 35.3 seconds left to go here in the second. 5 goals by Grosse Pointe North in the first, 2 by Pioneer in the second. Has it down to a 3-goal game. Pioneer wants to try and keep clawing back in here, whereas Grosse Pointe North wants to turn on the Jets and try and get an 8-goal differential and finish this game. Held in by Bergman at the blue line. Now into the slot. That slips past into the far corner. Rimmed all the way around back to the near point. Bergman trying to get to it, but not in time. Bergman back into her own zone. Bergman Trying to avoid pressure by Martin. That in along the far boards. Martin trying to hold it in. That back into the neutral zone. Now all the way across. Kung gets it over. Here comes Woodside. Woodside. Puck wouldn't settle down. That back over to Fainter at center ice. Now down the near boards. Bergman with it. Bergman trying to chip it ahead, and that will do it for the second at the end of 2. It is Grosse Pointe North 5 and Pioneer 2. We'll have a bit longer break here as they will resurface the ice, and we will be back for the all-important third period. You are watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Maybe you've seen the videos of the specialized sports parent support group, or the kid holding a press conference to announce his retirement from sports. The problem is, they'd be really funny if there wasn't a lot of truth there. Multi-sport participation provides a healthier experience and lifestyle for kids and families. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Sportsmanship is still relevant in school sports. Good sportsmanship should be a given at our games. It's one of the primary reasons we have school sports to begin with, to help today's young people become tomorrow's community leaders. You can learn more about sportsmanship and download a full kit of sportsmanship ideas from the MHSAA website at mhsaa.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Why do high school sports really exist? For 99% of the participants, it's the biggest stage they will ever play on, and it provides the most educational value, teaching sportsmanship, ethics, integrity, hard work, and teamwork. It's about playing with local friends against local rivals and creating lifetime relationships. They build community spirit, and they're worthy of your continued support. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
If you're a recent high school or college graduate and still have a passion for the games you played in school, still remember the thrill of putting on the uniform? Why don't you help us out and become a registered high school game official? Get out there and give something back to our kids. Visit the MHSA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Integrity, commitment, love of the game. These traits describe the people high school sporting events can't start without. The officials. They're out there every day giving back to our kids. Let's give them the respect they deserve. Better yet, why don't you become one? Visit the MHSAA website for more information. There's help wanted, just whistle. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the Health and Safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
You're hearing it. The message is getting through to parents. Multi-sport athletes get injured less. Multi-sport athletes become better in their primary sport in the long run. And even though it's not why we play our games, multi-sport athletes are now getting recruited more than specialized athletes. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
You have to wonder sometimes how folks in the stands, so far removed from the action and who have probably never had any training, actually think they can see the play and apply the rules better than the officials assigned to a game. If you're that good, please register immediately at MHSAA.com. We need more officials on the playing surface and fewer in the stands. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Think of a high school game as a 4-lane highway. Coaches, players, officials, and spectators, each with their own lane. Sportsmanship depends on everyone not crossing over the line. Fans keep it between the lines when they cheer positively for their team. So don't cause an accident. Stay in your lane and let the coaches, players, and officials do their jobs. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Power Ratings will be used this year in soccer, basketball, and boys lacrosse to seed the district tournament in those sports, and you can follow along. Visit your school's page on the MHSAA website to see how your team is faring, and you can look at statewide lists as well. And if you see your team is missing a score, submit it. Learn more about the Michigan Power Rankings at MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Have we gotten to the point where at some high school game that an official has finally had enough from coaches, players, and adults, pulls off the whistle, and offers it to you? Let's hope not. There's no way you could do a better job. It's on everyone to promote good sportsmanship. So before you blurt something out about that next close call, consider this. Without the officials, nobody wins. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
As they're just finishing up resurfacing the ice here, and it's trying to get trying to look on the schedule out at the website. Scores, there we go. That's where it helps. Okay, live games. I want to go back to the previous day. There we go. Okay. So back on December 3rd, it was, we know about Grand Brook Kingswood beating Grosse Pointe North. It was Walled Lake 3 and Regina Lutheran North 2. Washtenaw United beat Pioneer 8-1. Back on Tuesday, it was St. Clair Shores with a 3-1 win over Plymouth Canton Salem. It was Grosse Pointe South with a 7-2 win over University Liggett. Going back in time on Monday, December 1st, it was an 8-0 win by Downriver United over Mercy. And that is all of the games here in December. Taking a look back at Tuesday, November 25th, that was a 6-1 win, Bloomfield Birmingham over St. Mary's Sacred Heart Academy, 6-1. As they are finished resurfacing the ice here, Pioneer is back on their bench. Over to our right, getting ready to go here for the third period, 5-2. Grosse Pointe North in the lead. Again, we did find out number 19 is Catherine Joth. This is her first game with the team. She is playing Tier 2 hockey and decided she wanted to come over and play for her high school. And her older sister was, of course, a captain with the team, as a name we know fondly. Also a Joth with the men's team there that we'll see on Saturday, as we will have Pioneer men's hockey Saturday. I think it's around 4:30. 4:20, somewhere around there, from the Kennedy Recreation Center. As long as we can get internet out of there, we'll have that game for you. As that'll be the first game we've been able to do for the men's team. This is our second for the women's team. Basketball starting up next week. I believe we have some games we're efforting to do there next Tuesday. If we take a look at our upcoming schedule. So, again, Pioneer versus Carlson. Pioneer men's hockey versus Carlson Saturday, the 6th. That is at 4:20 p.m. from the Kennedy Ice Arena. Then Tuesday, the 9th, we're hoping to do both the JV and the varsity. Pioneer men's basketball games versus East Kentwood at 5:30 and 7 p.m. Then we will be back here at Vets on Wednesday, the 10th, for Pioneer women's hockey versus Huron Skyline. That'll be 7 p.m. at Vets. And then, again, as long as we can get an internet signal, a week from tomorrow, 12/12 on that Friday, we will have Pioneer women's varsity hockey versus Sacred Heart. That from Buffalo Wild Wings Arena. It's been a couple years since we've been out that way. Coming towards the winter break, on Tuesday, the 16th, we should have men's JV and varsity basketball versus Bedford. At 5:30 and 7 p.m. for the Pioneer main gym. We'll have Pioneer men's hockey versus Chelsea on the 17th at Yost. And then we'll have, again, we are getting some women's basketball, but Pioneer men's basketball on the 18th and then Pioneer women's basketball on the 19th. So lots of games upcoming as we have a couple weeks before the winter break. Michigan women's hockey already on break as we did their last game from Aquinas a week and a half ago. So we'll redrop. 14:55 left to go here in the third. 5-2. Grosse Pointe North in the lead over Pioneer. Martin versus Portinga right at center. There's the whistle and puck drop in along the far boards. That picked up. Brought in by Kasuba, firing it back deep into the far corner. Gathered up over there by Bergman, back behind her own goal. Bergman trying to avoid pressure from Martin as that puck down the far boards. Picked up there, coming ahead with it is Pace. Now here comes Portinga. Portinga trying to get it over to Chikachi. Chikachi outside the near circle. That all crossed off the side of the net. Now here comes Grosse Pointe North as they bank it off of the near board. Now go back into the Pioneer end. Cundiff back to get to it. She takes it right in front of her own goal, coming down the far boards, trying to avoid pressure by Kasuba. That ahead. Picked up. Here comes Pace. Pace gains his own pace. As that poke checked away by Bernie, sent back to the far point, but held in by Bergman. Deflected back, top of the far circle. Through the high slot now. Trying to keep it in his Portinga. Picked up by Martin. Martin trying to avoid pressure by Pace over own blue line down the far boards. Here comes Kasuba. Kasuba onto the far circle. That chipped away by Cundiff back to the far point. Now sent right back all the way down as that slides back into the Grosse Pointe North zone. As I'm going to call icing on that. Kind of looked like the defender could get to it, but the officials have a better view. So that'll come back into the Pioneer zone in the far face-off circle at 13:42. 5-2, Grosse Pointe North with the lead over Pioneers. Shappy Bain in to take the face-off versus Fainter in the far face-off circle. Puck into the far corner. Horvath has it. Horvath moving it back behind her own goal. Horvath down the near boards. DeCrane trying to get to it. That held in at the near point by Villani. Trying to dig it out of there is Fainter as well as Kung. Kung had it. That knocked away by Shappy Bain into the near corner. Shappy Bain back behind the Pioneer goal. Now that chip back into the far corner. Gathered up by DeCrane. DeCrane moves it from the far corner. Rimmed all the way around outside the near corner. Battle for it there. Trying to come, Villani, high slot. Villani coming over top of the far circle. Villani with the shot. And off the side of the net. Horvath steers it in along the end boards. That puck down the far boards. Gathered up there by Villani. Deflected high slot. Gathered there by Shappy Bain. Now coming the other direction. Here comes Jof. Jof coming down the near boards. Jof has that poked away right at center ice. Gathered by Villani down the far boards. Villani into the Pioneer zone. Top of the far circle. Villani shot there and a save by Ravelli. Puck comes all the way back to the near point. Held in there. Now back into the neutral zone. As Ozarek trying to get to it. Puck right back deep into the Pioneer zone. That'll be on the dasher right back behind the goal. Coming ahead with it. Here comes Jof. Jof. Over the blue line, Jof through center. Jof weaving her way through traffic outside the near circle. Jof trying to come in. Backhanded shot. There's a save. Another shot there. Is that put back? Right out in front and a goal. Pioneer puts it in. As I believe, it was Jof who put it in? It looks like it was Woodside, excuse me. So Woodside with the goal at 12 minutes even. And it is now a 2-goal game. What looked like it was going to be a severe blowout. So Woodside with the goal. As that puck, top of the far circle, Kasuba had it. Poked back over to Kasuba by Bernie. That puck goes right through the crease into the near corner. Cundiff has it there. Cundiff coming down the near boards. Deflects it over to Shikachi. That knocked away by Shanley. Now Shikachi trying to get back. Shanley again ricochets it off the near board for Kasuba. That's sent right back to center. Here comes Shikachi. Shikachi avoids a poke check. Shikachi moves it top of the far circle. Shot by Pace. That deflected out there by Bernie. Sent all the way down the near boards into the neutral zone. Cundiff picks it up. Cundiff trying to get around Martin. Picked up by Bernie underneath the near circle. Back behind her own goal underneath the far circle. Bernie. That deflects off the far board, tipped, held in. Shikachi puts a bouncing puck and a save by Aslam. Now Shikachi trying to get through traffic, held in at the far point by Bergman. Now Kasuba trying to get it out of the zone. That puck right past both penalty boxes. Kasuba trying to bring it into the Pioneer end. Good battle back there by Shikachi. Now that brought ahead. Here comes Pace. Pace held up at the blue line. Pace trying to work her way through. Bernie has it on the far circle of her own zone. She gets it back into the neutral zone. Cundiff gathers the skittering puck down the near boards, trying to get it around Martin. Martin feeds it ahead for Kasuba. Knocked back by Portinga. Martin has it right at center ice. Martin comes down the far boards. Poke checked away by Portinga, trying to pick it up. As that sent right back in along the near boards of the Pioneer end. Cundiff gathers it up there. Cundiff now coming down the near boards, trying to avoid Shappy Bain. That ahead to Portinga. Portinga all the way across. There's a blast there by Pace. Puck into the far corner. Trying to dig it out of there. Held in at the far point. Good job by Jof. Jof coming over. Jof with a shot and a goal! That one by Jof, and it's a 5-4 game. So Jof her first goal with the Pioneer team at 9:51. A blast from the blue line. that I believe Aslam was screened and didn't see it coming. I can't tell. I'm not sure if they said it was tipped out in front or not. It's definitely the original blast by Jove coming ahead. Shappy Bain, top of the far circle. That deflected. Is trying to come ahead is Jove. Jove down the far boards. Jove moving into the zone. Jove with a shot. That one just went wide. Puck in along the near boards. 5-4 is the score. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. And that is going to be, there is a player down. There's a Grosse Pointe North player down. Their goalie quickly over. Ashlam will quickly over to take a look. Pioneer takes a knee. You love to see everyone play their guts out, but you do not want to see any of these fantastic athletes injured. So it is a high school game. We will keep the camera off the injured player to give them a little bit of privacy. As up and coming to the bench. No, not coming to the bench. I'm trying to get the number there as it's hard to see in along the near boards. That is Alzaric. Alzaric into the bench. We hope that she will be all right. As a bunch of stick taps from the Pioneer players. Happy she was able to get up and come off the ice. As we'll hope that she's all right. And 9:23 left to go here. In the third, 5-4. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. All 5 of their goals happened in the first period. Pioneer, 3 goals in the first, 2 goals in the second, 2 goals in the third. I can count sometimes. I only teach auditing and accounting during the day. That puck in along the far boards, picking it up is Martin. Martin trying to get to it. Woodside holds it in. That's sent just to the near side of the goal. Bounces underneath the near circle. Coming back, Jove trying to get to it, but that brought ahead. Here comes Villani. Villani through center ice. Villani gets into the Pioneer zone. Villani. That goes all the way across. Knocked down as that went off of Woodside skates into the far corner. Sent back to the far point to Bernie. Bernie takes it. That coming all the way through the crease. Good job by Ravelli to knock it away. On the far side, wraparound attempt. That got knocked away. Shappy Bain trying a good attempt to get that in. Held in by Bernie at the far point. Shot there. Saved by Ravelli as she covers it up. 8:39 left to go here in the third. Face off back in the Pioneer zone. Face-off will be in the far face-off circle with 8:39 left to go. 1 goal lead by Grosse Pointe North. Portinga versus Martin in the far face-off circle. And that to Ravelli's right. Back to the far point. Held in there. Shot just goes wide into the near corner. Trying to pull it away out over there is McEvany. Down the far boards. Bergman trying to get it out of the zone. That right back to center. Picked up by Bernie at her own blue line. Bernie ricochets it off the near board. Grabbed by Cundiff, top of the near circle. Cundiff trying to feed it down the far boards. Racing ahead with it as that's sent in by Pace. Grab trying to knock it the other direction is Grosse Pointe North. Shikachi trying to get through traffic. As here comes Martin the other direction. Martin over center ice. Martin gains his own. Moves it over into the slot for Kasuba. Picked up down the near board. Shikachi trying to get it ahead. Grabbed by Cundiff. Cundiff trying to keep it away from Kasuba. Now here comes Pace. Pace gains his own. Pace outside the far circle trying to work against Bernie. Bernie pulls it away. Bernie back behind her own goal. Bernie underneath the near circle. Now heads the other direction. Gets it back to Kasuba outside the far circle. Kasuba chips it ahead. That back to the Pioneer blue line. Grabbed there by Catherine Jove. Jove coming ahead with it. Jove over center. Jove gains the zone outside the near circle. Jove trying to weave her way through traffic. That sent. Kasuba has it. Feeds it all the way down the ice. That's going to go back, and that should be icing, and it will be. 7:13 left to go here in the third. In a game that looked like Grosse Pointe North was going to have their way with it, we have a heck of a hockey game here in the third. Face-off in the far face-off circle. That between Fainter and Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain takes that, puts it outside the far circle. Held in at the blue line now, retreating. Pioneer has to touch up to avoid a delayed offsides, and trying to get back was Fainter and just offsides. It's going to be a face-off in the far face-off circle. Fainter in there versus Shappy Bain. That puck brought in, now sent all the way back into the Pioneer zone. Racing back to get it is Joff into the far corner, trying to avoid pressure. Back there as Joff has it into the far corner, as Villani was the one back there trying to knock that away. Deflected by Kung, as they'll come all the way back. Bernie has it at her own blue line. Bernie ricochets it off the far board. That ahead to Villani. Villani tips it into the slot. Coming in, shot and a goal. As Shappy Bain puts it in, gets them back to a 2-goal lead. And that is her 4th goal of the game. That is 6:33. Of course, my scoring is absolutely unofficial, but according to my stat sheet, Shappy Bain now has a hat trick +1. So she has had herself a whale of a game. Down the near boards, here comes Cundiff at her own blue line, trying to get over to Shikachi. Shikachi right at center ice. Shikachi gains the zone. Shikachi, top of the near circle. Shikachi moves it across, far circle. Trying to get a shot on that was Pace. Puck brought the other direction. Racing ahead with it, here comes Martin. Martin, top of the near circle, pulled away by Bergman. Bergman back behind her own goal. Bergman down the far boards. That chipped right at the far point. Trying to bring it ahead. And right in front of the penalty boxes, Kasuba trying to knock that away. Pace trying to feed it into the Grosse Pointe North zone. Gathered up by Shanley. Shot there. Good save by Aslam. Here comes Kasuba down the far boards, held in by Bergman. Now Villani fires it. That'll go all the way down the ice, and that'll be icing. 5:36 left to go here in the third. 6-4. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Face off in the far face-off circle. Shappy Bain in there for Grosse Pointe North. Portinga on the other side for Pioneer. That is to Aslam's left. Puck coming down ahead. DeCrane gets it back into the neutral zone. Fed down the near boards. Racing in is Shikachi, but that blasted all the way down. Icing waved off. They'll say that Pioneer tipped it. They'll come back into the near corner. Villani trying to pull it out of the near corner, battling with Horvath. Now here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain underneath the far circle. Shappy Bain into the far corner. That deflected and all the way across to Shikachi. Here comes Shikachi for Pioneer. Shikachi coming into the zone. Shikachi making a move into the high slot. Shot there. Saved by Aslam. Puck loose onto the near circle. Now trying to hold it in. Pioneer. Horvath does a good job of holding it in. Here comes Joff. Joff trying a wide angle shot and a save by Ashlam. Puck. Ashlam dives on it. 4:44 left to go here in the third. 6-4. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. Fainter to take the face-off in the far face-off circle. Kung, as well as Woodside out there. Bergman and Cundiff for Pioneer on the other side. That was Martin taking the face-off. That puck down the near boards. Bergman races back to get it right at center ice. Bergman trying to avoid pressure by Kasuba. As that puck now into the Pioneer zone, brought in by Martin. In along the end boards, Martin races back to try and get to it. Bergman tipping it into the near corner. Martin has it there. Martin onto the near circle. Martin with the shot. That got deflected out loose. And it's steered outside the near circle. Grabbed by Kung. Kung trying to get it out of the zone, held in at the near point by Bernie. Knocked down on that near circle. Here comes Kasuba, knocked away. Down the far boards, here comes Woodside into the neutral zone, Woodside. And steered ahead by Fainter, but put right back down the near boards by Grosse Pointe North. Cundiff at her own blue line is 3:52 left to go here in the third. 2-goal lead by Grosse Pointe North. All the way back into the far corner. Cundiff into her own zone, trying to knock that away. Kasuba back there, now coming right across the crease. There's a good save by Ravelli. Still trying to poke away, and covered up by Ravelli. McEvany and Kasuba right there on the doorstep. Ravelli able to keep it out. Keep it a 2-goal game. 3:35 left to go here in the third. Thank you for watching these fantastic teams battle in this great game of women's hockey. We're very grateful for your support of either of these two teams. Portingan versus Chappie-Bain. On the far face-off circle in the Pioneer zone. Puck in along the far boards, trying to bring it ahead. Here comes Shikachi. Over center ice, Shikachi. Outside the near circle, into the near corner, Shikachi. And deflects outside the far circle. Villani with it there. Villani trying to feed it ahead. That tip back into the neutral zone. Battle for it as that's sent right back. Here comes Pace. Pace down the far boards. Pace battling with Villani. Pace gets it in. Pace. That one deflects outside the far circle. Fed right back into the neutral zone. Jof has it at center. Jof trying to avoid Chappie-Bain. Jof ricochets it off the far board to herself. Jof into the zone. Jof into the far corner, takes it back behind the goal, trying to fire it out in front. That one just away from Portinga, still battling and covered up by Aslam. 2:46 left to go here in the third, 6-4. Grosse Pointe North with the lead. 2:46 left to go here in the third. Portinga versus Martin in the near face-off circle. That's Aslam's right. And puck. Shikachi trying to get to it. Shikachi. Top of the near circle. Cundiff blasted that in along the end boards. Now Shanley had it. Shikachi into the near corner. Centering attempt. Here comes Kasuba. Kasuba brings it over on blue line. Kasuba down the far boards. That poke checked away by Bergman. Here comes Portinga. Portinga. Top of the far circle, that puck in along the end boards. Grabbed by Thomas. Thomas feeds it down the far boards. Grabbed there as Pace trying to feed it out in front. Pace backhands it. And it goes through the slot. Now bouncing puck in along the far boards. Pace gathers it up there, trying to get around Thomas. Pace right back behind the goal. That rims all the way outside the near circle. Chikachi gets it over. Cundiff putting it. That deflects back in along the end boards. Picked up back there by Thomas. Thomas into the far corner, trying to get ahead to Kasuba. Kasuba back, now into the neutral zone. Cundiff has it. Pioneer trying to touch up. That's sent down the near boards into the Pioneer zone. Bergman racing back to get it. That will be icing with 1 minute 40 seconds left here in the third. Pioneer got it down to a 1-goal game, but Chappie-Bain got her 4th goal of the game to get it back to a 2-goal game. 1 minute 40 seconds left to go. Pioneer gets to choose the circle. Is that a timeout? I believe that's a timeout call by Pioneer. We'll take it with them. Let's play a little push on. You're watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting.
Health concerns in high school sports go beyond physical injuries. The mental well-being of our young people is a hotter topic than ever before. The Michigan High School Athletic Association website has resources to help adults and students recognize potential problems and deal with them in a positive way. You can learn more about these mental health resources on the Health and Safety page of the MHSAA website. A message from the MHSAA promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
We are live here at Veterans Memorial Ice Arena, where it is Grosse Pointe North with the 2-goal lead, 6-4 with 1:40 left to go here in the third. Portinga to take the face off, and Grosse Pointe North with a change here as Martin will come on. So Pioneer will not take advantage of the last change that coming ahead. Chikachi has it. Over and along the far boards. And right out in front off the side of the net. Battle for it as it comes onto the near circle. Another shot. Oslam with a save. Puck into the far corner. Outside the far circle. Pioneer trying to dig it out there. Martin. And back to the blue line. Held in back there by Bergman. Puck outside the far circle. Now that will go all the way down. Here comes Villani. Villani trying to get back past the Pioneer as Pioneer had pulled their goalie. Forgive me for not realizing that at 1:11. So Pioneer pulled their goalie, that being icing, and now come all the way back into the Grosse Pointe North zone. So Pioneer with an empty net to the right, trying to get this game tied up. They need 2 quick goals in 1 minute and 11 seconds. Grosse Pointe North, they'd love to put in an empty net goal and salt this game away. Puck into the far corner. Now outside the far circle, trying to pull it away. And grabbed. Here comes Martin. Martin trying to pull it into the neutral zone. Villani has it, knocked away, still loose into the Pioneer end. Now set the other direction. Here comes Pace. Pace gains the zone. Pace, top of the far circle. Thomas ricochets it off the far board. There's a shot by Joe and a goal! Joe from the far circle. And that makes it again a 1-goal game with 44 seconds left to go. .9 seconds. Goal for Pioneer, that by Jof. Unassisted, I believe that's her second goal of the game. Face off in the near face off circle. 1-goal game, 6-5. 41 seconds left to go. Puck in along the near boards. Jof trying to fire it back deep. That puck into the far corner. Thomas grabs it there. Thomas sending it down the far boards. Bergman trying to hold it in at the far point. Now Portinga firing it back. That comes down in along the near boards. 25 seconds left to go. As Cundiff has it at her own blue line. Gathered up by Jof. Jof raking her way down. Jof into the zone. Jof onto the near circle. Jof shot there. And Oslam with the save. 12 seconds left to go. Just in case you thought it was a snoozer in the first period, unless, of course, you're a Grosse Pointe North fan, in which case you were loving that first period, but it has turned into a tight, highly contested game here. That puck into the slot, shot there by Jof, and a goal with 8.8 seconds left. Jof with, I believe, a hat trick, unless someone tipped one of the other ones. I believe that was a backhanded shot by her. With 8.8 seconds left to go, and we are tied. As Portinga got the assist. 8.8 seconds left to go. 6-6 is the game. Tied up. See if anyone can break the tie in the remaining 8.8 seconds left. That puck brought ahead. Here comes Chikachi. Chikachi looking on the near circle. Backhanded shot, but that steered away. 1 second. And that will do it for regulation. At the end of regulation, it is 6-6. Pioneer was once down by 5 goals and able to come back and get this game tied. This being my first overtime game of the Michigan Girls High School Hockey League of the season. So I do too many games to remember what all the overtime rules are. I know in ACHA hockey, I believe it's 3-on-3, 5-minute overtime. Here, I believe it's going to be 5-on-5. 8-minute sudden victory overtime period. So I believe they're going to stick to 5 on a side. 8 minutes. First goal wins. As both of these squads want this win. Grosse Pointe North trying to make sure they secure the road victory. Pioneer trying to make an epic comeback at home. Give a first star of the game up until about 8.8 seconds left. It would have been Shappy Bain, but now we'll see who is the hero of this game or if it ends tied. Both of these squads have shown the ability to have good defense, great goaltending, and explosive offense. Martin in to take the faceoff versus Portinga at center ice. And over in along the far boards as Pace trying to feed it ahead, battling Kasuba. Kasuba trying to knock it ahead, that puck. Now up into the penalty box. So they will probably drop that right back at center ice, I believe, or will they put it on the far face-off dot right outside of the Grosse Pointe North zone? You can put it right back at center ice. Portinga versus Martin with 7:49 left to go here in overtime, coming ahead with it. And it's sent back all the way into the far corner. Try and get our scoreboard updated now that's coming back. Now that's sent across by Pace, gathered up. Martin coming down the far boards. Martin gets it to the blue line. Pioneer has to touch up to avoid a delayed offsides. That fired all the way down the ice. Racing ahead, trying to get to it. That puck into the far corner, but icing as a valiant attempt down there to get to it by the alternate captain. As that was Villani who made a really good effort to get down there, but just not able to get to the puck before it was icing. Face-off in the far face-off circle with 7:18 left to go. And in the Grosse Pointe North zone, bouncing puck. Villani sends it down the far boards. Kasuba trying to knock that away. Bergman puts it in along the far boards. Bergman and Kasuba outside the far circle. And puck right back behind the Pioneer goal. Now Jof coming down the near boards. Jof puts on the Jets. Jof over center ice. Jof comes into the zone. That poke checked away. Jof top of the near circle. Jof moves it into the slot. That deflects all the way back to Bergman at the far point. Bergman puts it right back behind the goal. Now that fed all the way around into the front. Grabbed by Jof in the slot. Top of the far circle. Trying to get around Kasuba. Jof back behind the goal. Jof has it poked away. Good defense back over there by Martin. Now here comes the puck coming down the near boards. Here comes Villani. Villani has it onto the near circle. Villani coming in. Shot. Save by Ravelli. Puck loose. Comes onto the near circle. Cundiff with it. Cundiff coming down the near boards. Cundiff deflects it into the neutral zone. Bernie collects it there. Bernie over center ice. Weaves through some traffic. Poked away by Fainter. Now down the far boards is Bergman. Bergman trying to get around Villani. Now sent the other direction by Thomas. Right back into the neutral zone. Pioneer has to touch up. That puck backhanded. Here comes Shappy Bain. Poked away. Now Kasuba trying to feed it ahead. And knocked down the far boards by Bergman. Sent the other direction, right in front of the scorer's box. Bergman trying to knock it away. Kasuba over there battling. Poked right over to Kung. Kung coming in with it. That pulled away down the near boards. Here comes Bernie. Bernie. That pass knocked away. Good job by Pace, but picked up by Bernie down the far boards. Bernie into the Pioneer zone. Shot there. Ooh, good save by Ravelli into the near corner. That shot was a good knuckleball shot bouncing. Puck onto the near circle. Intercepted by Villani. Trying to get a shot away. Villani back behind the Pioneer goal. Battling for it there. Puck into the near corner. Kasuba trying to get to it. Kong gets it right back into the neutral zone. Picking it up is Thomas, just inside her own zone. Thomas putting it down the far boards. Gathered up there and fed ahead by Shappy Bain. Coming back to Thomas. Thomas and grabs Shappy Bain, trying to make a move. High slot, Shappy Bain. And steered in along the end boards. Horvath trying to get to it. Now, excuse me, out in front. Forgive me, that was Villani, by the way, all the way down. Thomas has it right at center ice. Thomas over to Bernie. Bernie. That deflects down the near boards. Trying to feed it ahead was Fainter. Puck right between the boards, or right between the benches. Fainter ends up down on the ice. Kasuba has the puck at her own blue line. Kasuba feeds it down the far boards. Here comes Shappy Bain. Shappy Bain working against Chikachi. And puck loose in along the far boards. Woodside over to knock it away. That back to Shappy Bain on the far circle. Right into the slot. Kasuba trying to get to it. Here comes Jof. Jof, 1-on-1, 2-on-1. Jof moves it over to Chikachi. Chikachi on the near circle with a shot. Saved by Aslam. Picked up. Tipped back into the slot, but pulled the other direction. Portinga holds it in. Now grabbed by Kasuba. Kasuba makes it over center ice. Kasuba coming down into the Pioneer zone. Portinga trying to knock it away, and a good save by Ravelli. Shappy Bain with a shot that goes just through the crease outside the far circle. Martin with it, knocked away. Here comes Pace, but held in by Thomas at the far point. That puck trying to grab it. Portinga gets it out into the neutral zone. Here comes Pace. Pace, top of the far circle. Shot there. Saved by Aslam. Chikachi coming in to try and get to it. There's another shot that hit the official as Pace trying to feed it out in front. Martin takes that puck and heads the other direction. Martin has that poke checked away by Jof, but Kasuba gets to it. Now right along the blue line, here comes Jof. Jof onto the near circle. Jof into the near corner. Jof coming out in head. That's a backhanded shot. No goal. Loose as that puck into the far corner. Picked up by Kasuba. Kasuba moving it down the ice. Kasuba trying to get back past the defense. Kasuba has it outside the near circle. Kasuba's shot just goes wide. In along the far board. Shappy Bain has it there. Shappy Bain right back behind the Pioneer goal. That tip back. Portinga knocks it off of the far board. Grabbed as Grosse Pointe North shot there, deflects right back behind the Pioneer goal. Cundiff trying to get to it, battling with Alani. And steered away by Portinga. Now ahead to Chikachi. Chikachi has it. Chikachi trying to get away. Bernie down the far board. Chikachi trying to fire it back deep, but Bernie has it outside the far circle. Bernie moving it down the far boards. Grabbed there by Pace. Pace on the far circle. Pace with a shot. Knocked down out in front by Martin. Picked up coming down the far boards. Here comes Villani. Villani moves it over. Shappy Bain has it. Top of the near circle. Shappy Bain in. Oh, a set. Shappy Bain. She comes out of it. Was that her? Villani. They give the game-winning goal. Both of these two teams, they'll hope to meet a little bit later in the playoffs. So final here, 7-6 in overtime. Grosse Pointe North gets that win. They will have the victory on the road. Pioneer with the loss. And we will be back again Saturday for the Pioneer men's hockey game from Kennedy Ice Arena. As long as we can get an internet connection out there, that will be versus Carleton. For my cameraman, James Wiseman, my name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you very much for all of your watching and your support of these teams. Have